How can you make the most of this spiritual quarantine? Hi, I'm Ann Margaret with Raise the Vibration with this week's Sacred Sunday message to raise the vibration of your body, mind, and spirit. In this 15-minute talk, we're going to discuss a few tips to maximize this time that everybody is home right now, socially distancing, but how can we turn this into a truly sacred transformation, a metamorphosis for our body, minds, and spirits. First of all, we'll talk a little bit. I want to introduce a quote that I'm sure we've seen tossed around a little bit out there. It's a beautiful, beautiful quote that really encapsulates the sacredness and the mystery of this time. And then I'll pull some intuition cards at the end just to harness the power of the subconscious mind in influencing us at this time. So thanks for joining me. Let's get started. All right, so the quote I've also included in your notes. The quote is by Kitty O'Meara, and it is this: "And the people stayed home and read books and listened and rested and exercised and made art and played games and learned new ways of being, and were still and listened more deeply. Some meditated, some prayed, some danced, some met their shadows, and the people began to think differently, and the people healed. And in the absence of people living in ignorant, dangerous, mindless, and heartless ways, the earth began to heal. And when the danger passed and the people joined together again, they grieved their losses and made new choices and dreamed new images and created new ways to live and heal the earth fully as they had been healed." This quote is so extraordinary at this time. I'm not sure when Kitty wrote this, but it is just incredible to look at and recognize that this is exactly what's happening. We're being forced into a physical quarantine, but which is the oneness of it all. We're all collectively as a human race experiencing this right now. But how are we going to navigate this individually? This human experience is one of both oneness and separateness, and this is where it gets a little tricky as we navigate through this human journey. We feel this connection to everyone and everything, and we sense this unity and this undercurrent of oneness, and yet we still must move through this journey alone, isolated many times as we are now. Even those of you who are alone at home, you still feel that connection to everybody else, but we still feel the oneness as well. So how do we make the most of this time that we are in isolation, that we are in this quarantine? Well, I love the phrase spiritual quarantine because it's something that all of us, or many of us, say that we desire in this life. We just want a month off. We just want a week where we can be still and be quiet. Don't we say this? And yet here we are right now having this time together. How are we going to use it? I know that many of you have expressed through, I coach a lot of people one-on-one and couples as well. And a lot of the couples that I'm coaching are expressing challenges in their relationships. They are now with each other 24/7 and are not necessarily used to all that time together. Or some of you are in complete isolation and feeling the realness of this isolation and loneliness in such a palpable way. One of the most critical contributors to addiction, any kind of addiction that we have in our lives, is a lack of intimacy. And as a human race, we are facing a very critical time where so many of us are in isolation, and mental health is becoming a very real challenge, even more so exponentially. So in recognizing that this challenge in our relationship with one another or with our relationship with ourselves is coming to a head, it is a perfect opportunity for metamorphosis in our lives right now. Now, there is a beautiful metaphor, and it's a very real thing that happens in nature with caterpillars as they turn into butterflies. But I want you to just take a moment and close your eyes. I want you to close your eyes, and I'm going to take you on just about 1 minute journey of what happens with this caterpillar and how this is very, very real in what we are experiencing right now and how we can make the most of it. So close your eyes and just sit tall, be comfortable, connect with your breath, and imagine that little brave, tiny caterpillar marching along, trying to find a safe place for it to experience its transformation. What it must do is find a safe, protected place on a branch or somewhere safe on a leaf to voluntarily wrap itself in darkness. The caterpillar weaves around itself this chrysalis, cocooning itself in darkness by itself. Very similarly, we're going through something very real, very separate, isolated in our own homes. And in this darkness, the caterpillar knows that it's in that place that they're experiencing the greatest transformation. So in that place of great transformation, nobody witnesses how this happens. Nobody sees what this little caterpillar is going through and the physical transformation that they are going through in this chrysalis as a caterpillar, as it's turning into a butterfly. And when this transformation happens, as it's happening to all of us right now, how are we going to utilize this time to transform ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in our relationships? How are we going to transform our environments at home to be more in alignment with our soul's purpose and our desired frequency, our own vibration? In this dark place, no one witnesses it. And in this day and age where we feel like we just need to be seen in social media outlets, we want people to know what we had for dinner. We want people to know how we spend every moment of every day. This is going to be very challenging. Can we allow ourselves the sacred space of that chrysalis, of consciously wrapping ourselves in that dark place? And I don't mean dark heavy, I mean dark, protected, and silent, as we're doing now. And allow that transformation, that metamorphosis to take place. And here's the incredible thing about this journey of the caterpillar into the butterfly. Once the transformation has taken place from the caterpillar body into a butterfly body with the wings, what then must happen? The new butterfly, we're still wrapped in this cocoon, in this chrysalis, has to poke a hole in that chrysalis and then begin to pry itself out of that cocoon over and over and over. And it looks, if you've ever seen this, it's such a struggle to watch. It's such a struggle as this caterpillar, as this butterfly begins to emerge and pry itself from this dark place of transformation. And if a well-meaning passerby, and I know there are many of you out there who really desire to be of service and to help others and have a really difficult time seeing people struggle. If a well-meaning passerby sees this struggling butterfly trying to emerge from its chrysalis and says, "Oh, I'll help you. I'll just little rip in the chrysalis to help you emerge faster or without as much struggle," what will happen? The butterfly will die. For it's in the struggle, in the emerging of that butterfly into the new reality, where it's prying itself, it's struggling, it's trying to press itself through this tiny hole, that it gains the strength to fly. So too, what must we do the work ourselves individually? We must wrap ourselves in this sacred space and examine what it is we need to do physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, how we need to communicate and grow more deeply in intimacy in our relationships, not only with ourselves, but with each other and our partnerships, with our communities. So have courage at this time. There are some amazing, amazing tips that you can do. There are some wonderful teachers now teaching online. So see if those teachers that you're going to at the gym or at your yoga studios are teaching classes online, that you can support them. You can go and follow them. And actually, out of the comfort of your own home, a lot of these teachers are making this accessible through a sliding scale. That's what I'm doing. And I know a lot of my colleagues and my fellow teachers who used to teach at our yoga studio in New York City are doing this. So physically, mentally, go into those spaces, attend those classes online. And then another thing that you can do is journal, write things down at this time, get things out of your head. I know we don't want to do things. Sometimes we just want to go quickly into the next shiny object distracting us. But see if you can take some time to meditate, to be still, to journal about what it is you're experiencing, because this sacred time, you don't want it to pass, because it will pass, everybody. We will get to the other side of this. You don't want this sacred time to pass without fully reaping the benefits and maximizing this spiritual quarantine right now. So take some time, journal for yourself, write down the feelings that you're experiencing, write down the struggle of what you're experiencing. I put in the notes some incredible oils to use. I know one of the most challenging things that we face as human beings is letting go, is surrender, especially when we don't know what's going on fully, when we can't control what's going on. So I put some links to a great oil, Elevation. It's one of my favorite oils. And I put this right on the top of my head, and just put a little violet energy or white energy visualizing right there as a sense of letting go for that seventh chakra. And then the other oil I recommended too is Clary Sage. This is an awesome oil, Clary Sage or Serenity, great for the third eye, and also just clear seeing, to put this on yourself to go through your day. We need to ground ourselves in this physical reality right now so that we can have the spiritual and the reality of the physical foundation to go up into these higher chakras of our intuition, and also that guidance of opening up to our direct connection with source energy. Take advantage of this time, okay? So here's a couple intuition cards I want to pull. I always do this at the end of the talks. It's super fun, and it also accesses our intuition, our subconscious mind, by what we're attracting, what we're pulling. So let's see what we pull today. Beautiful card for today, the card of the Mother. All right, so how archetypes work is we can call in the energy of that archetype to support us, to really fuel us through the day. The light attributes of the Mother are nurturance, patience, unconditional love, joy, and giving birth to life. Now is the time to give birth to new projects, to new realities. I think there's going to be a lot of babies that are going to be born in December and January next year, so it might be quite literally a conceiving of a little baby inside. Shadow attributes of the Mother: smothering or abandoning children, instilling guilt in children for becoming independent. A lot of you are finding your independence at this time, and that's your spiritual transformation in this quarantine. So how can you call on that Mother archetype to more support you, influence you, and also direct the course of your actions right now? The Mother is the nurturer. If you need support, reach out to me, email me. I have a sliding scale available for all my one-on-one coaching. If you're struggling with your partner navigating this, I do couples coaching, so please reach out to me or attend those online yoga or fitness classes. That's going to be really helpful. All right, let's pull. Beautiful. Okay, so here's the Goddess card for today: Infinite Supply. Aren't we freaked out about what the next step is? Many of us don't know where the next paycheck is coming. So many hotels, restaurants, businesses have closed, and we don't know what's going to happen. This is reminding us you are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. Infinite supply. Right now, our faith is being rocked more than ever. How can we harness this spiritual quarantine right now to flex that muscle? Guys, if you know somebody who needs to raise their vibration, feel free to share this video with them. And thanks so much for joining me. I'm Ann Margaret with Raise the Vibration, and keep the faith, everybody. Sending you love and peace.